Let's look at page 39's vocabulary. Okay. Take a minute, and I want you to try to answer those by yourself. Try to answer those by yourself. So you can pause the video and answer the vocabulary questions based on what we've read. What do you think the answers are? My aunt gives her money to others. A person who likes to give money to others is considered generous. She's generous. Now you can be generous with your time. You can be generous with things that you have, or you can also be generous with money. Aiko feels sure that she'll pass the test. If you always feel very sure about things, you're not afraid, you know that you can do it, then you are very confident. So Aiko's very confident because she believes she's going to pass. Are you guys confident in this class? Are you confident about English? That's a very good question. Sarah can understand things quickly. Well, if you understand things quickly, what could we say about you? Well, we could say that she's intelligent. She doesn't have to think about things for a long time. I think the speed of which we understand things is often the way people judge if we're smart, right? Sandra always does what she says she'll do. She always does what she says she'll do. She's reliable. A reliable person never breaks their promises, right? Now, sometimes everybody forgets, and sometimes we have to break our promises, but then people will judge us as being not very reliable, right? Joe wants to be successful and powerful. And he's ambitious. A person who has big, big goals is an ambitious person. Sometimes in like English a long time ago, people would say that's like kind of a bad word to be ambitious. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but sometimes people might say that in older English. My dad never lets anything stop him. Dad never lets anything stop him. He's determined, right? Determined to get better at English. If you're determined, you're going to be able to do it. And May has a lot of natural ability as a writer. She has a natural ability. She doesn't have to do anything. She's just naturally good at it. And we would probably say she is talented. How about you? Do you have any talents? Are you talented? I think many students are not confident about their talents sometimes, but I'm sure that everybody has something. Okay, so let's take a look at these. We're gonna talk about today comparatives and superlatives as well. Two different ways of talking about adjectives when we're talking about either two different things or three different things. So let's do this little warm up here. I want to see if you can get it. Okay, so it says Mike hasn't eaten today, so he is blank. He is blank. So if he's blank, what is he? He's blank Susie. Blank Susie. So we're talking about two people, Mike and Susie. The adjective hungry. How do we change that adjective to make it fit? How do we change that adjective to make it fit? That's right. It should be hungrier than Susie. We're talking about two people, so we're going to drop the Y and make it IER and add modifier than. He is blank in the class at speaking English good. So in all of the class, he is the best in the class. So best for all people, better for just 2 people. That handbag is blank at this store than the last one. So we're talking about 2 stores. Well, expensive has 3 syllables. Expensive, expensive, that's 3 syllables. So it has a little bit of different rules. It should be more expensive, not expensiver, even though we're talking about 2 things, because it has 3 syllables. 3 syllables has a little bit different rule. That pig is blank than the dog. Well, fat is only 1 syllable, right? So that's simple. That pig is fatter than the dog. America is blank Japan. Well, we're talking about Korea, right? So America is further than Japan. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm speaking a lot, so I'm sucking on some holes. I hope it doesn't interfere with your understanding, but it's very difficult for me to talk for like 2 hours on these videos because of my throat. So I do suck on some candy in my mouth. So I'm sorry if you can hear that. She has blank money than me. So this one's a little bit harder, little. What's the comparative or superlative of little? It should be less money than me. I have blank talent than her though. Many, much. Blank talent than her. Many, much. What should it be? I have more talent than her. More. So many or much and little, a lot, slightly different way to do them. So I want you to remember these. Something we're going to talk about this week and next week. So, okay. So here are some rules, just a quick summary of the rules. They're also in your book. But number 1 says, use an adjective, comparative adjective plus than, to compare 2 people, places, or things. So Lydia is taller than Alex. And you can use a comparative adjective plus a noun when the comparison is clear from the context. So the bigger house is mine. 2, add er to the end of most 1-syllable adjectives to form the comparative. If the adjectives ends in e, add r. So 1 syllable, by syllable we mean sound, right? Small, large, low, nice, big, fat, small. Smaller, larger, lower, nicer, bigger, younger. Okay. 3, use more before most long adjectives. That's adjectives that have 2 or more syllables. So Jack is more serious than Nikki. Do you think math is more important than music? So 2 syllables or 3 syllables. Serious. 4, some 2-syllable adjectives are used with either er or more to form the comparative. So some of these. So quiet becomes quieter or more quiet. Simple becomes simpler or more simple. Some of these we can choose, we can use both. We can use both. And some adjectives have an irregular comparative form. So good becomes better, far becomes farther or further, and bad becomes worse or worst, okay? So those ones can be a little bit tricky. They're kind of like irregular verbs, right? Okay, so another quick examples here. My house is blank than yours. What is it? Well, my house is bigger than yours. This flower is beautiful than that one. So again, it's 3 syllables. So it is, this flower is more beautiful than that one. This is the interesting book I've ever read. So it's all the books you've ever read. So it's more than 2. Well, I hope you've read more than 2 books, right? So the most interesting book I've ever read. Next, non-smokers usually live longer than smokers. Usually live longer than smokers. Which is the dangerous animal in the world? So all the animals in the world, which is the most dangerous animal in the world? A holiday by the sea is blank than a holiday in the mountains. So it's another irregular one, talking about two different things. So a holiday by the sea is better than a holiday in the mountains. It is strange, but often a Coke is expensive than a beer. More expensive than a beer. Who is the rich woman on earth? Yes, who is the richest woman on earth? Who is the richest woman on earth? The weather this summer is even blank than last summer. So we're talking about this summer and last summer. So it's going to be comparative, two things, not superlative, three things. So the weather is worse than last summer. And the last one, he was the clever thief of all. Clever, I put it on here, it's a kind of tricky one. It can be he was the most clever or he was the cleverest. Both of these are acceptable in English. Some of these can be either one. By convention, we use either one. Okay, so we're spending a lot of time on this, so you know it's probably going to be on your quiz or test, right? Good. Okay, I want you to look page 39, the grammar. Please do it for homework, and if we have time, we're going to look at it in Zoom. I don't know how much time we're going to have in Zoom because sometimes there's technical problems, but please take a look at it, okay? So if you look at the next unit, as we said, it's about goals and fears. I want you to think about, what is your biggest fear? What are you afraid of in life? Are you afraid of being poor? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of English? Which is one of the questions. Are you afraid of ghosts and stuff? Some people really do believe in ghosts. Do you know anyone who has like a big fear? Somebody who's afraid of like a certain thing? What are they afraid of? Some people are afraid of spiders. Some people are afraid of snakes. Some people are afraid of speaking another language. And many students are afraid of speaking English. What do you think most people are afraid of? What do you think most people are afraid of? There's some common ones that come up a lot. What do you think that they are? Okay. Well, this is a kind of little mini lesson about fear. We probably don't have time to look at it all today, but those parts that we don't have time for, we're going to take a look at them in the Zoom class or next week. So fears. Okay, don't be afraid, not too scary lesson, but it's a kind of interesting thing to talk about when we're talking about fear. So different ways to talk about fears, to fear or to worry about something is to be afraid, to be scared, to have a fear. We can also say fear, like I showed you here, like to be worried is to be afraid. I'm afraid that it's going to be a very hot summer. So I'm afraid of, or I have a fear of snakes. I have a fear of spiders. Okay, a big one many people are afraid of is the fear of snakes, and that's called ophidiophobia. Ophidiophobia. Okay, because it's kind of Greek word. Like Korean uses many words from like Chinese, Hanja word. In English, we use like a lot of Greek or Latin words. So ophidios is like a Greek word for snake, and phobia is the Greek word for fear. So we call it ophidiophobia. That looks not fun, right? So if you don't like that, you might have a little bit of ophidiophobia. Not fun, right? Could you put your head into water filled with snakes? Maybe in the Zoom class we'll do a little activity with that. Fear of spiders. This one's called arachnophobia. Arachnophobia, and it's also a very common fear. Arachnophobia. We don't have very many big spiders in Korea, but I can't say that I'm happy if I see a big spider. That's a really gross one there, right? Maybe you remember that one from Harry Potter. Very scary looking spider. Could you eat that? Maybe not, even if you don't have arachnophobia. The fear of heights. This is called acrophobia, because acrophobia is a high place. Do you like mountains and stuff? Well, then maybe you don't have arachnophobia, acrophobia. It's also a very common one. Could you jump on this rope? Bungee jump? I think a lot of us have a kind of acrophobia, at least a bit. Most people don't like to jump. This is a big one my students have, trypophobia, the fear of like holes or circles. How do you feel about that? Gross? Not good, right? I don't know why people don't like it. The fear of like a very small place, that's called claustrophobia. Claustrophobia. To be stuck somewhere that's really, really small and you have to get out. Many people don't like it. They feel like they have to get out as soon as they can. It's also very, very common, and many people have a really bad problem. They get sick if they're in these small places for a long time. Okay, yes, afraid of all of these different kinds of insects, a worm, a millipede, a scorpion, and most of these things are not too dangerous. A scorpion can be, but a lot of people still don't like them. Why is that? Why don't they like it? Excellent question. Could you put your head inside of a box with all of these things? We shall see. The fear of flying, aerophobia. They say about 75% of people have some fear of flying. How about yourself? Well, we know nowadays flying is very, very safe, but something about being high up in the air is a kind of acrophobia, right? It is a kind of acrophobia that people are easily afraid of. Or are you afraid of both? So I think this one is a kind of important fear. It's happening now, right? Because of the coronavirus, many people are becoming more afraid of germs, right? Of bacteria and viruses nowadays, for a very good reason, I think, right? It's not a crazy reason. A lot of problems nowadays about this. So this is called a germaphobe. A person who's very afraid of germs is called a germaphobe. So are you obsessed with cleanliness and defeating bacteria? Or are you actually giving them a natural, healthy environment to thrive in? Find out the truth about your hygiene habits. You can follow this link here, but in fact, we're gonna do it in the Zoom class if we have the time as well. Talk about germophobia, fear of germs. Some people are so afraid of germs, they can't sleep at night if something in their house is a little bit dirty. Okay, what's more dirty? Do you know? What has more bacteria or germs? Let's say. What do you think? A desk or a table and chairs? Which one do you think is more dirty? What seems dirtier to you? Like a table and chairs is all the people sitting at it, right? So you think that the table and chairs should be more dirty, right? But in fact, it's the desk. Why? Well, I think we spend a lot more time at the desk, and a lot more people are coming in and out of offices to the desk. We sit and we put our food on the desk and we rest there, we put our head down on it. So I think that's why, and we just don't clean it as much. Whereas we clean our dining room, kitchen table all the time, right? Or your mom does, or dad, or sister, or brothers, right? The average desk has about 100 times more bacteria than a kitchen table, believe it or not. What has more germs? What is more dirty? A toilet or a computer keyboard? I think you know the answer, right? Everybody knows. It's not too surprising. A keyboard or a toilet seat? Well, definitely the keyboard does. We know how often we use the keyboard. We know we're always touching it and touching our body and touching food. And so the keyboard is almost definitely going to be more dirty most of the time. So you can see these high germ zones, office telephones, keyboards, and computer mice compared to toilet seats, not that much. What has more germs or what's more dirty here? Kissing or a handshake? We know nowadays in the time of Corona, we have very little chance for handshakes anymore, but in fact, handshakes spread more germs. And then we touch our face after we touch the hand. Of course, it's a little bit disgusting. You transfer more germs when shaking hands than kissing, of course. What has more germs, you think, a toothbrush or a light switch? Again, I think you guys see the pattern. You know what it is. Of course, the toothbrush does. Tricked you, huh? Your toothbrush must be at least 6 feet away from the toilet, doctors say. It should be very, very far from your toilet because that's what your toothbrush looks like under a microscope. Yeah, they're pretty dirty. On an average, a toothbrush holder is the most germ-infested place in a home, so wash your toothbrush holder. Okay, final reminder today, guys, the quiz is on the week of May 18th to 21st. It's not going to be very surprising. It's the same format as the previous quiz. Maybe about the same questions, a little bit more, a little bit less. 40 participation points for doing it. Remember, make sure if you are Jungup Hua class, you are registered in the right class on my portal. Many Jungup Hua, I don't know how it happened. They ended up in my sports business class. Most of the assignments are very different. They took the wrong test. They took the wrong quiz. So please check it and make sure you're in the right class. I sent a message about it. Most of you have fixed the problem. Some of you haven't. If you haven't fixed the problem, please fix it soon. Check the week 3 video for the course code. You should not be in sports business, okay? So make sure before you take the quiz that you're not in sports business class, you're in Jungup Hua. Even it doesn't matter which day, just as long as you're in Jungup Hua, okay? I sent the email, so please check it out. I know it's such a difficult this semester. We're all online. we're in the wrong classes and it's just hard to understand. You can't see me, you can't talk to me. So I didn't take any points from you. I didn't take your points, but I hope you can fix that problem soon. And the semester is almost finished, so soon make sure that you're registered in the right class, okay? Okay, guys, again, if you have any questions, send me an email. I look forward to seeing you in Zoom class. Next week is going to be a little holiday for us, a little bit of a break time. You don't need to, you just need to watch a short video next week and you can rewatch the video of the Zoom class, okay? Okay, guys. Good talking to you today, and I'll see you in Zoom. Bye-bye.